Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to take a look at Bobby's collection, and this collection is one of the best selected collections I've seen. They're wonderful choices, and I really like to see that. Also, you have a good variety of watches. They're not all the same. Not only are they different brands, but there's certain things about each one that's different. Now, in looking at this first group of watches, the first one is what's called the pre-moon watch. This is the Omega Speedmaster with the caliber 321. Now, while it didn't go to the moon, it was one of the first watches in space. A number of the Gemini astronauts wore the Speedmaster with the 321 in it. A little, I think it's 861 or something like that, which was the movement that was on the moon. But that is a beautiful example of a what's called the pre-moon Omega Speedmaster. Beautiful watch. Next one is the Panerai. And I've had a problem with the Panerai probably since the 318. So I love the looks of a lot of the Panerai, and this one I like a lot. The reason I like it, first of all, I wasn't crazy about that giant crown guard on the Panerai. Some of them I sort of warmed up to, but it wasn't my favorite. Well, here was the Panerai that has the 512. Now, the reason I got upset with the Panerai, some of the Panerai has some fairly cheap, very unfinished movements in them. So I didn't trust them. Okay, they had some ETA movements and they wanted high horology prices. Now this one, I don't have a problem with another, not an in-house movement, if it's a good movement. And in the 512, you have the Piaget 999. So it really is an interesting watch, I think. And again, Bobby makes these really good choices of watches, and that's another one I like. The Rolex Daytona down at the bottom, I like the white dial on this one. Here you have all the other three there have a black dial, and I have both white and black dials. But for me, the white dials generally tend to be a little easier to read. Now, the ones like that Panerai with a black dial and a nice big contrasting white numbers, that's easy to read. But a lot of them, especially with a lot of other subdials on them, like on the Daytona. And here's another really good example of the Daytona. Now, the vintage Breitling nav timer is from around the 80s and right around that period. This was the period when I started flying, which is in the late 80s, early 90s. I did all of my flying. And this is the kind of Breitling that I wanted in the worst way. Back then, I just thought pilots wanted Breitlings and they wanted Tag Heuers, because as soon as you go by the FPO, man, the pilot shop, they had the Breitlings and the Tag Heuers. I just thought they were wonderful, but I thought they were way too expensive. Now, the crazy thing about it was that we were spending a fortune on avionics on our planes, not to mention gas and everything else you have to pay for an airplane. But, we thought the watches were too expensive. I don't know. One of those things. Okay, so you start off with these four really, really interesting watches. And by the way, too, that vintage Breitling nav timer is a very interesting looking watch. I like it a lot. It's got a lot of details on it, and it reminds me of the old, we used to have these mechanical round flight computers, and you'd do all of this stuff on it. They were they were pretty much on the way out even when I started flying, but we had to learn how to use them as to pass the different exams that we had back then to become a pilot. Okay, the other two watches that are part of Bobby's collection are two Jaeger-LeCoultres. And again, the thing about them, they're not just any Jaeger-LeCoultres, they're well-chosen ones. Now, the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Chronograph, caliber 751G, this came out in the SIHH show in 2017, so it's a new watch. And there were some other ones that came out it was a master control. It didn't have the two subdials. I think it was pretty much their entry level. It was around $5,700, brand new. Jeez, what a watch. I love that watch. And here's one with the same kind of look to it, except it's got the two subdials. And I really, really like the looks of it, plus it's the Jaeger-LeCoultre. Man, that is, what a great selection. And the other is again, this is a term I almost hate to use, and it's hard not to use when you talk about a reverso. It's one of the most iconic and the iconic Jaeger-LeCoultre watches, I think, around. And it's a Grand Reverso. My wife has the ladies version. It's pretty small, but those Grand Reversos are well named. They're a nice big watch. And what you have here, just in these two watches, you have what I call a classy office watch. That's the Master Chronograph. I mean, this is one that you could wear to work, and it's not your typical, whatever's, hanging on the drugstore rack kind of watch. It's a really classy watch, and I see that more as like something you take to work. The other hand, that 18-karat gold Reverso, Grand Reverso, man, that's when you're going out and putting on the dog, but you're not trying to show off. There's something about that watch that's got a subtle message saying this person knows their watches, they know how to wear them, and they know how to do it in a classy way. And I know that sounds, even to some it may even sound snobbish. Okay, but watches do tell about the person who wears it. So if you have something that's a nice, classy looking watch like that particular Jaeger-LeCoultre, man, I tell you, it just says a million things and it looks like $1 million. So anyhow, well, here you have is a kind of watch collection. I wish mine were more like it. I sort of go off and get a lot of different things. And wearing my FP Journe chronograph, or not chronograph, resonance, and it's got little bitty dials, so it can be hard to tell time with it. I'm getting better at it. Got my glasses on, I can nail it. But these two watches, boy, you can pick it up at a glance. Beautiful dials, everything about it I like. Everything about this collection I like. Okay, little quick announcement here. I got a letter from the Grand Prix d'Horologie de Genève from a very nice lady there. I inquired about when the pre-releases were, or the pre-selections were going to be released, and she said September 1st. So our contest is going to be over August 30th. August 30th will be the last day that any entries into the Grand Prix Picks contest. Now there's two watches we're giving away. The first one we're giving away will be on September 1st when we have all of the entries. And between the 30th and the 1st, which is one day, I'm going to be taking the entries and organizing them in a way that's going to be easy so I can quickly count out and find out who won the first free watch. The first free watch goes to the person who had the earliest entry that selects the most entries into the pre-selected group. So anyway, and then of course, when they have the November Grand Prix announcements, then the person who has the most watches, you get 1 point for every one you have right. I mean, when I say you have right, the one that they picked, and also 5 points if you get the grand prize watch, which is called the Aiguille d'Or. Okay, well, Bobby, I love your collection. It's just right. I mean, to me, it is anyway. Where would you go from here? What would be the next step? I don't know. It's hard to say. These are such a well-selected one. You might want to enter into the territory of some of the more exceptional watches. I don't know if that's financially a good idea or not for you. But it might be one that you might want to sort of start sniffing around. My suggestions would be Moser. If you want to sort of go into some really interesting territory, a Beauvais, the FP Journe, if you can find one of those that's affordable, and none of them are anymore. But this is I mean, you've got a really good collection here. I don't see, like, you know, there's nothing you could do about just anything with that collection, because you have such a good selection of it. And however, if you want to go forward with it, those might be the places. They become really dangerous. You also might want to dip into Holy Trinity, but yeah, I don't think you have to. I think those Jaeger-LeCoultres take really good care of that, especially the ones that were selected. Okay, well, get your votes in. Take a look at the video that we have on entering the contest. Get your contest in, your entries in, and Bob's your uncle, and that's, I hope you all win. Okay, this is Bill Sanders for WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection.